Hello, back on the 701. Today we are starting with the right slat. For positioning the slat bracket on the slat rib, I was making me a template. Two vertical lines 148 millimeters apart from each other and a horizontal line 28 millimeters from the bottom. According to the plans, there should be two holes in the slat brackets. Here is now the fort I was making. Here is now the slat rib and the slat bracket positioned on the template. The L angle is 28 millimeters apart from the bottom. With the red waterproof pen I was marking the tooling hole and the slat rib. Here you can see now the red marking from the waterproof pen of the tooling hole. It has not enough edge distance to the hole I was pre-drilling. So I have to make by hand 4 new slat brackets. Here's the sheet of 6061 T6 aluminium 40,000, and here is the layout for the slat support brackets. Because I can use the second hold, I was using this for fixation of the old slat brackets on the aluminium sheet. The right one shows the cutout out of the sheet metal with the hacksaw, then another cutout with the hacksaw, and after some filing, the finished result on the bottom. Here are now the new self-made slat support brackets for the right slats. Clamp the slat bracket on the template, the rear part on the left side of the 140 millimeter vertical line. The bottom is flush with the template. Then change the clamps to the bottom and clamp a piece of L angle on the 28 millimeter line from the bottom. Now the front bottom part of the slat rib is positioned on the template to the right 148 millimeter vertical line, and the rear is on the L angle 28 millimeters apart from the bottom. I was back drilling the tooling hole of the slat rib into the slat bracket. Then I was back drilling the hole in the slat bracket from the other side into the slat rib with two size 40 holes. Now the slat bracket is positioned on the slat rib. Here are now the 4 slat support brackets positioned on the slat ribs. The ribs and brackets are marked, and the outline of the brackets are transferred to the slat ribs. The holes are drilled out to final size 34A4 rivets. Now you need 4 L angles 120 millimeters long. On the L angles I was making a center line and 2 vertical lines. The first 50 millimeters from the rear end and the second 85 millimeters from the rear end. At the 50 millimeter and 85 millimeter markings, there are drilled holes size 20 near the bend. For protection, I was using a piece of sheet aluminium. The cutout to the relief holes in the bend was made with the tin snips. On the slat rib you can see the contour of the slat bracket. On the rear part I clamped a piece of sheet aluminium. Here is now the L angle clamped on the sheet metal. I transferred the contours of the slat bracket to the L angle. Then I was back drilling the existing hole into the L angle. Then drilled out to 3/16 of an inch. I was making the layout for the 4A4 rivets on the L angle. Now they are drilled out to size 40. The corners are rounded, and on the rear part I was making space for the top A4 rivet, so there is no interference. The 4 positions for A4 rivets in the moment drilled with a size 40 are transferred to the slat rib. There are total 6 A4 rivets fixing the slat support bracket to the slat rib. After removing the clamps and the sheet metal, you can see the result. The L angle follows nicely the contour of the slat rib. The 4 size 40 holes in the slat rib were transferred to the slat support bracket. The L angle is clicked in place and the 4 holes are drilled out to size 34 A4 rivets. Here are now the 4 slat support brackets positioned on the slat ribs with the L angles. All holes deburred and the corners are rounded.